Hello, good afternoon, namaskar to the newest episodes of Minutes of the Week. Ladies and gentlemen, at the dawn of the century, almost 2 decades ago, IT and IT enabled services formed a considerable size of our exports. I mean, we spoke about IT industry like we spoke about samosas. Those were the days. 22 years later, almost 2 decades now, we're standing at a target of $325 billion dollars from services sector alone. In the month of April 2021 to January 2022, we have already achieved a target of 209 billion. I'm joined by Mr. CA Sunil Talati, who is also the chairman of Services Export Promotion Council. Sunil साहब नमस्कार, कैसे हैं आप?
Namaskar, thank you so much. I'm good.
सुनील साहब, आपके पिछले कई महीनों से गवर्नमेंट के साथ अभी हेक्टिक पार्लेस चल रहे हैं. We have been talking about enhancing the services sector exports. Now, when it comes to services, IT has always been the darling of the town. Apart from services, the volume of which have grown in the last few years, especially during COVID, we have not only managed to hold ourselves tight, but also surpassed our export expectations, be it products or services. But when it comes to specifically services, which are the sectors which are finding their space in the global scenario, apart from IT and IT enabled services?
Yeah, I tell you, you are very right in mentioning that yes, in the entire sphere of exporting of services, IT service is taking a lead. It is almost 55 to 60% of the total export of the services. And that is one of the reasons why SEIS was not given to them, because government intention and idea was that when they are so self-sufficient and they are in a monopoly position and they are getting their sufficient income, why should government give any further incentive?
Okay.
Out of 12 champion services which we have laid down, let me tell you, the focus of the government is on a particular 3 to 4 sectors at a maximum level. First is medical and MVT, medical value tourism and medical.
Okay.
They want lots of people in surrounding countries to come to India for medical treatment.
Okay.
That's point one. And point two, they want medical tourism also to improve, so that those who come for medical treatment, their relatives and accomplished who accompany them, they should also come and stay in a hotel. And after the treatment is over, or if the treatment is a longer one, they can go around and see places in India. So they are putting a lot of weight on that. In fact, I can share with you that we were there in Dubai in this expo, and there was a one full day allotted to medical exposition. Almost 27 countries representative were there.
Okay.
And they all were by one voice not only clear and keen, but enthusiastic to see that they want to come to India for medical treatment as compared to treatment at Europe or USA.
Achha.
And we were very happy and proud that yes, this is the recognition of Indian medical services. And they also told, and we told them, that even in foreign countries, doctors are by and large Indian. So Indian doctors are number one in the world. Whether you go to in Europe or USA, top doctors.
Talati sir, medical tourism. Okay, fine. You say that medical and medical equipments and tourism is one of the prime sectors which will, represent India's flag globally. But when it comes to other sectors, like consultancy business, where India is a prime motivator in chief, in various continents and various regions, primarily Latin America. Secondly, when it comes to other sectors like emerging sectors like gaming today, which is relatively a newer sector, does the government have any focus in those areas as well? Or you want to start with medical tourism first and then eventually move on to other sectors?
No, I'll let me just complete medical. So what I was trying to say that government is very keen on substantially increase medical. They know that government is doing it, but they say, no, we want it to be increased substantially. They want hospitals to be made not only in the south, where more focus is there at present, but they want hospitals in north, hospitals in the east, and hospital in west. So entire India is covered for the medical treatment. At present, for knee replacement and for heart surgery, we are good. But he said for every single thing, India should lead. And secondly, paramedical treatment and nurses. And I, in my lecture, mentioned that how our nurses are best compared to other nurses in the world. They are really called sister, and they give a brotherly treatment, a sisterly treatment to a patient, and not a professional treatment. So
Okay.
government is that. So that's one aspect. Your point is very well taken, that we can't focus on hotel industry and medical industry per se after IT. We have to take care of all 12 champion services. So consultancy and legal representation is one of the very big area. Let me share with you, on 14th of May, we are organizing a big seminar at Vigyan Bhavan, where Indian Arbitration Center opening concept is being discussed. That
Okay.
how India can be a hub for international arbitration
Okay.
besides Singapore. As of now, everything goes to Singapore. So a lot of foreign exchange are drained, lawyers' fees and things are going to Singapore. We want India to be a hub for international arbitration, at least for South Asian countries where disputes are arising. So we are having a big seminar on that, and government is also encouraging on that seminar, giving a lot of impetus and inputs to see that these areas are widened. Secondly, let me talk to you with regard to legal services. Lot of documentation work and drafting work has now started flowing in India. And compared to what was there in 2010 to 2020,
Okay.
2020 to 2030, they see 3 times more work coming on that score.
3 times, you
That is,
said.
yeah, in legal drafting. So that's another good thing. Coming to my field of accounting and auditing, which sector I represent, let me tell you, there is unbelievable growth, unbelievable demand, unbelievable potential. And there are chartered accountants and there are non-chartered accountants, but entrepreneurs who are hiring 400, 500 CAs and taking the work of accounting from Australia, from New Zealand, from USA and UK. These are the 4 major countries where KPO work is coming. We are doing it. They send the work at night. We do it in the morning. By evening, when the work is sent there, it is morning there. Ready-made work is there on the table, and
Okay.
cost is less by 30 to 40%.
Hmm.
That work has substantially increased. Even my own case, I can share with you that we have been able to increase our volume as well as service as well as fees. So government is giving a lot of importance on that. And when we went to Australia with Piyush Goyal, we had called Australian chartered accountants also there, so as to convince them that you should give the work to Indian chartered accountants.
Okay. 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 Of course, the Minister Goyal himself is a CA by profession.
Exactly.
So, apart from these subjects, Talati sir, you spoke medical tourism, you spoke hospitality, you spoke about legal outsourcing. Law is, of course, one of the sectors which is very heavy on exports and consultation, of course. Now, when it comes to bottlenecks in services sector, the minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, was himself very excited about India, surpassing its exports target last year. We have crossed the exports target, and there's a reason to cheer. But having said that, what are the bottlenecks and challenges which you foresee in the coming future? Like the recent free trade agreement which we had with UK. Do you think similar agreements which should be struck with other countries? I mean, we have some with the ASEAN countries, but apart from there, these countries, do you think that we need to expand our, funnel of free trade agreements with countries where our export market is the biggest, maybe like China?
Free trade agreement on the basis of WTO situation, we need to definitely expand to at least 5 to 6 more countries. Because at present, the limited trade agreements gives us a very limited impetus and limited exposition. Things are not moving. I mean, I'm not criticizing, but things are not moving the way it should move fast. On one side, you look at 5 trillion economy. Our target of last year in the SEPC was 200 billion. We crossed 200 billion and crossed 250 billion. So we thought government would give us a target of 300 billion, but government gave us a target of $350 billion. Now it's a very big target and we have to achieve that. And if we achieve that, then only the 5 trillion achievement can be possible.
Of
Now
course.
we are when 1 trillion by 2030 can be achieved. So
Of
we
course,
are
of
all
course.
working on it. We had a meeting yesterday only with Mr. Sarangi and other people in ministry. We are working with them. They also felt that SAPC, along with other export promotion councils need to gear up and need to work more on that so that we don't focus only on those 6, 7 limited areas where hitherto we were being focusing.
Now, Talati Sahab, Indian diaspora is spread across the world, and through them, they take their services across the globe. Now, when it comes to diaspora, of course, they have to settle down in a country and provide those services. Immigration has been one of the bone of contention since Donald Trump took over US presidency a couple of years ago. And since then, it has been in vogue, at least as a matter of fact, it has been at discussion tables. Now, when it comes to immigration policies, do you think that we need to up our game? Of course, diplomatically, we are placed very well. But do you think we need to up our game as far as immigration policies and, compact arrangements with the other countries in place?
Yeah, we have told them, even ministry is conscious about them. We literally, I can say, complain also, particularly with regard to some strict provisions and methodology for issuing visa. So they say, no, we are conscious. Besides electronic visa, on arrival visa, we have to be very liberal in granting the visa. And larger the visa, larger the input, and larger the input and larger the inflow, there will be larger export. So government is conscious. They are not telling, but we are knowing from inside information, whatever source, that infiltration and illegal entry are required to be checked simultaneously. And in becoming liberal, we run a big risk of inviting those kind of people who are unwanted people. So government has to take a balance, and that is why this delay is happening. But Home Ministry and Ministry of Foreign, MEA, they are really working very hard on this. They are in touch with us also, and we are giving our feedback to them.
Sure. Now, last part of this conversation, Talati sir, geopolitical environment right now, especially after the Ukraine crisis, is at a different level than it was 5 years ago. Now, India is an emerging superpower. We have more economic stake than we had about a decade ago. We have more political stake than we had a decade ago. We have more export, import, and trade stake than we had a decade ago. Considering these three equations in mind, where do you think we are placed geopolitically, especially after the Ukraine crisis, especially after the differences between the East and the West, primarily US-led alliance and China-led alliance? And of course, in the middle, Australia lies somewhere in the middle. Considering these geopolitical scenario and carbon emissions, climate change, coal crisis, वगैरह वगैरह आप सब जानते हैं. इस माहौल में where are we placed diplomatically, and where do you think this will lead us to, especially when it comes to services exports and relationships with the countries? Because exports can be better only if you have good relations.
I must tell. Abhinavji, it's a very complex question you have raised, but it's a mixed bag. I am not a blind bhagat of PM Modi, but I really adore him. And the way he's playing his game, including for Ukraine and Russia, I think we are doing a wonderful balancing act. We have neither displeased USA, we have not antagonized Russia. And we are in a position to balance it out. That's point one. Point two, India is seeing a very big field after this war is over. Look at the tremendous damage that has happened to various buildings. And we feel that our Service Exports Promotion Council, our sector of construction, research and building will be one of the biggest beneficiary to rebuild the buildings, to architectural. That will be a huge work coming to India.
So you think EPC is one of the sectors which is likely to gain after the Ukraine?
Exactly. So that's a big point I see. Thirdly, if you see Greek has opened up, and Greek, the way tourists are going there, as if there was and there is no our COVID at all. That is how the traffic and tourists have moved. And now, if you see, since last 1 month, I am traveling a lot. Not a single plane, there is one seat vacant. So traveling in India also has substantially increased, so is the outside traveling. So outflow of the tourism is there, and so is the inflow. So geopolitically, all countries are feeling that COVID-wise, India is much safer as compared to China, Singapore, Hong Kong, other Middle East area. Forget Maldives as a beach. But otherwise, people don't go to Sri Lanka, people don't go to Nepal. And major focus for tourism nowadays is also in India. Subject to people are waiting for summer to slow down, because there are people who would not like to come to summer except for Goa or in beaches. But otherwise, North is fully booked. I just inquired as a member of SEPC as well as personal. Not one hotel is available in Kashmir, even of 100 rupee per day or 25,000 rupees per day. So that's the demand of foreign tourists as well as Indian tourists. So geopolitically, I think we have struck a good balance. We are not being criticized for our stand, and we are in a neutral position as of now.
Now this would be my last question to you, Talati sir. When I talk about the goods part of the export, the goods-driven exports, primarily driven by manufacturing, was given a big boost by PLI scheme, performance-linked incentive, and that helped the nation not only achieve its export target but also surpass it. When I talk about services-driven exports, what is that one PLI scheme which you want from the government?
The one PLI scheme at the first track of the hammer is remove GST on all those who are paying in foreign exchange. That will be the biggest move. Biggest move. A person comes from USA, stays in a 20,000 rupees per day hotel for 10 days, 200,000 rupees. He pays 36,000 rupees for tax. That pinches. Government can waive that. Anyone paying in foreign exchange, no GST. Just do it for 3 months. It will be a big boom. Government has realized it. They've appreciated our suggestion, but you need guts, bureaucracy's resistance, and a willingness to implement some drastic change. Unfortunately, that is not happening. But if PLI can give 1,600 crore rupees to just 7 industries, and my first question to Ministry was, why not to textile? See it, growth in textile, export at Bangladesh, at Nepal, even forget China. Tremendous potential. But we are not giving PLI to textile. Just give PLI to textile, our export would be larger than these 2 small countries. At present, we are unable to compete with Bangladesh and surrounding countries.
Correct. You also spoke about duty remission, Talati sir, of lately interaction with the government. What was that demand? Can you please explain to the audience? What was duty remission demand, which is abbreviated as BRES?
Yeah, but that was saying that on all foreign exchanges, particularly on medical tourism and hotel industry, tour and tourism, entire IOTA, I'm speaking on behalf of IOTA also, that they should waive or substantially reduce GST for all foreign exchange payment coming to India.
Okay,
that benefit, in my view, as a chartered accountant, that benefit of earning in foreign exchange and growth and avoidance of concealed payment or unaccounted payment would take care of the loss of GST collection.
Sure.
GST collection, I can say, we are just 1 lakh, 1,20,000, 1,25,000. People start paying reasonable GST in every sector. Mark my words, by March 24, we should cross 2 lakh GST, 2 lakh crore per month.
Sure.
That's my calculation.
Talati sir, thank you so much for your time in speaking to BW Business World, and I thank you on behalf of Minister to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.